So let's say you have a really simple progression like this one. Now, I'm not going to change a single chord, but here's how it can sound instead. Pretty different, right? Well, today I'll show you how to make your progressions sound richer without changing the harmony using constant upper structures. And be sure to stay until the end of the video where I'll show you an alternative version that takes the same concept in a completely different direction. The trick is to pick a constant upper structure that works over as many consecutive chords as possible. On the left hand, just play simple perfect fifths, and sometimes you can even add the third on top of the chord. That gives you the basic solid sound of your harmony. For the right hand, choose a simple 2 or 3 note upper structure. In this case, I'm going to use a perfect fifth and double the octave. For example, D, A, D. You can also use inversions. So instead of D, A, D, you could play A, D, A. Let's take our original chords and extend them all the way to the 13th. So for example, your A flat major triad becomes this. These first 4 chords are all in the key of A flat major. That means when I extend them, I'm only using notes from the A flat major scale. So even though the chords are different, they all share the same pool of 7 notes. Now let's cross out avoid tensions. On major chords, we usually want to avoid the 11. On minor chords, we want to avoid the flat 9 and the flat 13. The rule is simple. Avoid any note that forms a flat 9 interval with one of the other chord tones. For example, on A flat major, the D flat is the 11, and it's an avoid tension. See, C to D flat is a flat 9. On F minor, D flat is also an avoid tension. On D flat major, every note is available. There are no flat 9 clashes. And on E flat, the A flat becomes the avoid. So these are the notes that we're left with to build our constant upper structures over these 4 chords. If we want to use a perfect fifth as our upper structure, we can choose any 2 notes from this set that are a fifth apart. For example, C and G. So now you can play your 4 chords like this. Here are 2 other perfect fifths. On the next section, I added a B major to show you what to do with chords outside of the key. For major triads outside of the scale, you can always use the Lydian scale, unless they work better as dominant chords. Lydian is the best scale because it has no avoid tensions. So now the common notes are E flat and B flat. Or B flat and F. Of course, you don't have to consider all of the chords every time. If I just want to use constant structures on the first 2, I can use F and C, and then E flat and B flat on the next 2. When you put everything together, it sounds like this. right, so here's the alternative version that I promised you at the beginning of today's video. This version expands on the same exact concept. If you look at all of the available common tones in the first 4 chords, they spell out a C minor pentatonic scale. So when your chords all come from the same key, like in this case, the set of common tones across the progression often forms a minor pentatonic built on the 3rd degree of the scale. Okay, yes, assuming your 7 diminished is not in your progression, which it rarely is. That gives you another powerful option. Instead of a fixed 2-note upper structure, you can treat the pentatonic itself as your constant structure over the progression. And as a corollary, any substructure of the flat 3 minor pentatonic is a candidate for a constant upper structure over your progressions. So whether you're using just a perfect fifth, a triad, or even a 4-note shape, as long as it comes from that pentatonic, it will work consistently across the chords. By the way, check out our pentatonic voicings and pentatonic lines courses. They not only include lots of exercises to practice, but it also contains charts with all possible pentatonic substructures and chords and where you can use them. Thanks for joining us today. I do hope that was helpful. We'll see you on the next video.